everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 50 of Direwolf20's Dire News. Today, I want to talk about my trip to the Creator Summit hosted in Sweden by Mojang and Microsoft. So if you guys follow me on Twitter, you know that I was kind of hinting at the fact that I was going on a secret trip, and we were asked to keep it secret, so I wasn't just teasing you until we got there, right? So once we arrived, we were allowed to publicly state, on social media like that we're here and we're doing all kinds of cool stuff. So if you follow me on Twitter, you saw some updates over the weekend. So for the past 10 days, I've been out of town. So the last Wednesday, I went to Seattle in preparation for Mindfair. So while I was in Seattle, I got to meet and talk to some of the Mojang employees out of the Redmond office who are working on the Bedrock edition of Minecraft. And then after Mindfair, I left on Monday and flew to Sweden to join the Creator Summit. And if you guys follow any other YouTubers, you might see there were a bunch of other people there. Way too long a list of people to mention, where we got together and basically like we did last year, if you followed my video then, we met up with people who work at Mojang, people who work at Microsoft, and kind of got some new details about things that they're working on, things that are coming up. Some things I'm allowed to tell you guys, and some things I unfortunately have to keep secret for now, but I can definitely let you know some stuff and give you guys some thoughts on some of the exciting things coming to Minecraft. So, without further ado, let's get started talking about all these news updates that I have for you guys, because there's a lot. All right, let's start with Seattle. So a little while ago, I organized a meeting with the employees of Mojang who work out of the Seattle/Redmond office and some members of the modding community that do Java mods, so Forge mods. As you may or may not know, the Mojang employees out there are working on a modding/scripting API for the Bedrock edition of Minecraft. So this means the version that you play on the Windows 10 store, or on the Xbox, or on the Nintendo Switch, or on your iPhones, or iPad, or whatever, right? Almost all those versions are Bedrock edition of Minecraft, right? The only exception to the Bedrock edition of Minecraft is the Java version, which is PC only, and I think PlayStation is not running Bedrock, right? So all those versions of Minecraft are considered the Bedrock edition. So they're all the same code base, and they all have the same fundamentals. So the developers there are working on a scripting API that will allow basically a form of modding, right? So you're going to be able to add blocks, you're going to be able to add items, and you're going to be able to add scripts that those blocks and items can execute. So if you've followed on Twitter, there's a couple videos of there's an experimental version that's extremely early, has very few features out of the planned total number of features, and already we've seen some really cool stuff that people are doing. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll see I've retweeted a little while ago, somebody made something that looked like the Buildcraft builder. So remember, you could template a building. So they built a 9x9 because that's awesome, and they copied it with a template block. And then they had a builder block, and they gave it the necessary items, and it was able to build that structure and copy it. So that's already available in the scripting API. And when I saw that video, I was like, that's awesome, because that's very promising, knowing that the scripting API is such an early state, and that's already possible. So I set up a meeting between Mojang in the Seattle Redmond office, because I was going to be in town already, and there's a few people who live in that general area, and some of the modders in the existing modding community. And we intentionally kept it a small core group of people, because we obviously couldn't bring 50 people, right? So I couldn't just pick 50 modders and show up to the offices, right? So we very specifically chose a very small number to start with the intention of hopefully having more communication going forward from more modders and more input from them. So from the modding community, we had CPW and Lex Manos, the two people who are primarily responsible for maintaining and working on Minecraft Forge, which is the modding API that all developers use to make Java mods. We had King Lemming, who makes Thermal Expansion, and we had Drolkus, who makes Chisel and currently maintains Twilight Forest. So we had two mod developers there. And then we also had Slowpoke, who owns and runs FTB, and Dark Osto, who you guys know have made a lot of mod packs like SevTech and Sky Factory 3 and Sky Factory 4 and a handful of others, right? So if you do the math on this, we had two people who make Forge, two people who make mods using Forge, and two people who make mod packs using mods. Cool. And then myself and Tomas, who you guys may know is a member of the community here, who's helped out with a lot of stuff, kind of more in the back end. So the purpose of this meeting was to kind of talk to the people making the Bedrock API and introduce them to the Java mod team, like the people who make Java mods and make Java mods possible, just to make sure that they have an idea of what kind of cool stuff happens in mods, right? So a lot of people on the Bedrock team do play mods, but some don't because they just, are busy and don't have time to do that stuff in their spare time. So we wanted to make sure that they understood all the facets of the modding community. Like, here's some cool stuff that mods can do. Here's how mods work together. There needs to be cross-mod compatibility, right? Mods can't be sandboxed. And what I mean by that is, we have mods that not only modify Minecraft itself, but then we have mods that modify other mods, right? So think like Thaumic Tinkerer, right? That's an add-on to Thaumcraft, right? And then also things like Craft Tweaker that's a mod that allows it to change the crafting recipes of all the other mods, right? So like config options. And we also talked a lot about some of the pitfalls that the modding community has ran into in the past that the Bedrock API should be able to support and help protect against, right? So one real good example of that is the OR dictionary, right? So the OR dictionary came about because way back in the day, those who played Minecraft mods like years ago probably remember there used to be a situation where multiple mods would add copper ore to the game, right? And then you wound up having 5 different types of copper in World Gen. So you'd have like red power copper, and you'd have industrial craft copper, and you'd have build craft copper, and you'd have like all copper from all these different mods. And then they weren't compatible with each other. So if you wanted to craft a red power item, you needed to find red power copper, smelt it into red power's copper ingot, and craft it with that. But if you had industrial craft copper, you couldn't make red power items with it, right? So we explained so this was like a pitfall we ran into, right? Like that's not something that, if you go through, you might think about ahead of time when you're creating an API. Like you wouldn't think, oh, we need to be prepared for mods that add similar items and allow them to be equivalent to each other. So that was one example of some of the types of things that we talked about with the Bedrock API team that's working on this. So overall, I wanted to just, get that meeting. And what I took away from that meeting that I was most excited about is that the developers making the Bedrock scripting API were very excited to meet us and hear from us and hear our ideas and hear what we need, which was good, right? Like I was excited about that. Going into a meeting like that, you never know what you're going to get, right? Like you might think these guys might just be like, whatever, we don't care, right? But they weren't like that at all. They were very interested in what we had to talk about. And more importantly than that, we were able to open up a line of communication that we're going to keep going. So my hope and goal is that the Bedrock modding API can be as good and as powerful as possible. I think everybody, including the Bedrock devs, agree that it will probably never be quite as powerful as Minecraft Forge, simply because Forge has direct, unfiltered access to everything, right? And the API has to support and be a little bit more controlled than that, like the public official API. That said, my hope is that we can have some really powerful and good mods. I think we're going to have some really cool stuff. And it might require a different approach, but we'll still have some really, really good mods out there. And I think a lot of what we see in modding today will probably be possible in the future. Now, of course, I don't have any timelines, and even if I did, I probably wouldn't be allowed to share them. So I don't know when this will happen. I don't know when a modding API will come to Bedrock. I'm hoping it's not too far off. I know that they're working on it actively, and I know that the experimental version, which is kind of like the beta version of the Bedrock Minecraft, has a modding API enabled. And like I said, there's videos out there of things that people have done with that API, right? So things are happening. And I want them to be good, and I think they're going to be good. And I'm excited that the devs over at Minecraft were very open to our conversations and excited to hear from us. And we're going to keep talking to them, and we're going to keep reviewing it and try and give as much good feedback as we can to make that API as good and cool and awesome as it can be. So then we had Mindfair Seattle, which was super fun. If any of you guys have ever been to a Mindfair before, it's very cool. There's a lot of neat things to check out, neat things to do. It's definitely targeted at a little bit of a younger audience. But the kids who go have a really good time. They have a blast. There's all kinds of stuff set up. There's server stuff and marketplace content. There's a VR section. There's a lot of learning sessions and educational things. So there's how to do command blocks, right? And a whole little panel. And I think they even have computers set up where, people can sit down and play along with the panelists to make cool things with command blocks, right? So there's all neat stuff like that. And then there's like a main stage with all kinds of different like talks going on. A bunch of YouTubers and streamers are there. So I got to hang out there again. I've been to a couple of them at this point. It was a lot of fun. I got to meet a lot of fans. I got to meet a lot of people who watch the videos, and it was awesome meeting people. Like, I love going out in public and meeting people. So because I don't do face cam, right, and I don't, really show my face too much, I've never been recognized in public before. So I've never been like out just like at the grocery store and somebody's like, hey, you're Direwolf 20, right? Like, that's never happened to me. But at conventions, I get to interact with people and see fans and see people who like the videos. So that was really cool. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. And Mind Fair Seattle was a blast. So then I hopped on a long plane flight over to Sweden. So that was cool. Almost a full day's worth of travel there. Got into Sweden on Tuesday. Went and had dinner with a bunch of basically the Mojang team. So Kojo was there, Grum, Sarge was there, Jeb, and a bunch of other people who work on the team. And I'm pretty good friends, like really good friends, I would say, with Grum and Sarge and Kojo. And I know a lot of the other people on the team just from interacting with them. I got to hang out with one of the guys on the team, Sliced Lime, who's really awesome. He's actually like a huge proponent of Java mods, and I hung out and talked to him a lot this weekend. Got to hang out with Peterix, who works at Mojang now, and he's the guy who created and still maintains Multi-MC. So there's a bunch of cool people working at the Mojang offices. Got to hang out with Mark IRL, who you guys may or may not know. He's been involved in working at Mojang for pretty much since its inception at this point. He's one of the oldest members there, and it was just great. Like, to me, that aspect of that trip was the coolest, because I got to hang out with people that I've literally been friends with some of these guys for 5, 6, 7, 8 years now. But, they all live in Sweden, and I don't, so I never see them. So at these trips, I get to hang out with my friends, basically. And that was, like, the best part for me. The highlight of going to Sweden, aside from, like, seeing all the cool stuff, like, the number one for me is, like, I got to see my friends that I never see. So that was really good. So the Creators Summit itself is hosted by Microsoft and Mojang, and the main purpose of the Creators Summit is mostly to get people who make content for Minecraft, like YouTubers, Twitch streamers, and this year they invited a lot of the marketplace partners who have content available on the Minecraft marketplace in the Java edition, and I got to meet a lot of the people who are making maps. So, some big names that were there. There was a lot of people. There were like 200 marketplace partners, so I can't list them all. But like Nox Crew was there, for example, and it was really cool meeting those guys because I remember them from the Java days that they were making content, and now they're making stuff on Bedrock. And if you haven't checked it out, like, there's some really cool stuff that's been made on the Bedrock edition of Minecraft. So definitely worth investigating, right? So that was really neat, hanging out and meeting those guys. Got to hang out with a bunch of other people who make video content in Minecraft. So I hung out with, surprisingly, Seth Bling was there. I didn't know he was coming, so I got to hang out with him all weekend. Super awesome dude. Really nice to see him again. So I'd hung out with him quite a few times in the past, but he kind of took a break from making Minecraft content for a while, and he's starting to make it again. So it was really awesome to hang out with him and see him again. Doc M was there, and like, I hesitate to list who was there because I know I'm going to forget somebody, because there was literally like hundreds of people there, and I'm going to forget somebody, and then I'm going to feel bad, and somebody's going to be like, Dyer, we hung out all weekend and you didn't even mention me. Hung out with Dark Osto a lot because this was his first time going to the Creators Summit in Sweden, so me and him hung out a lot, and I introduced him to a bunch of people that were up there, and that was really cool. And so Dark Osto's super awesome dude, right? You guys know him as creating lots of mod packs, and he streams on Twitch, so he's super awesome, and really got to hang out with him pretty much all weekend, and that was great. And as you can tell by what I'm saying here, like, the joy for me is hanging out with new and old friends, right? So, like, we also did other things Minecrafty, so I have to remind myself, like, oh yeah, these people don't want to hear about, your friends that you hung out with, Direwolf. They want to hear about, like, what's up with Minecraft and what's coming. So let's focus on that. So the Creator Summit, the main purpose is, like, meet and greet and get to know people, right? Both us to get to know Minecraft and Minecraft to get to know us. So we did a lot of activities. We had a lot of panels where they talked about upcoming things. Some of the stuff they asked us, don't go too public with this yet. We don't want to really get this out there just yet. So I'm going to try and be really careful about, exactly what I say here, because I want to make sure to maintain that trust that they have in us. So, but what I can tell you is one of the things I got to check out was Minecraft Earth. Which was recently announced about a week or two ago. They released the fact that Minecraft Earth is coming out. And if you haven't heard of it yet, Definitely go check out the trailer for Minecraft Earth because it looks cool, but it doesn't really show a lot of gameplay. So I was specifically told you are allowed to talk about pretty much anything and everything you saw related to Minecraft Earth. So I did get my hands on it. They had a couple phones there that had the game installed, and I got to literally hold and play Minecraft Earth, and that was a cool experience. Anyone who saw a few Minecons ago, they showed the HoloLens demo of Minecraft, right? And that was really a tech demo. It wasn't meant to be able to play HoloLens Minecraft, right? That was never a thing that they intended. It was really just a tech demo and an experiment with augmented reality. So Minecraft Earth is an augmented reality game. Kind of like, and I don't want to make this comparison because it's not the same at all, but, you know, a game you guys might be familiar with would be Pokemon Go, right? So in Minecraft Earth, the way it works is you open up the app and you have a map, and it looks similar-ish to Pokemon Go, and there's like events nearby that you can walk over to and do. So you go out into the world and you find events, and you activate that event. And the event would be something like there's like a little mini dungeon almost. So you hold the phone up in the real world and you can see through the phone's augmented reality camera system like all these blocks from Minecraft overlaid in the real world. So you can harvest the blocks, and that's how you collect resources. And sometimes like you dig down a little bit under the quote unquote ground. So like as you're holding it up, like there's a layer of dirt that overlays the ground, like that you're actually the physical ground that you're looking at. And you can dig into that, and then you can dig into the ground a little bit. And then in there might be sometimes like a skeleton or a zombie, and you have to fight them a little bit. And once you complete that little mini game, you get access to some like extra resources. And it's super fun to play. Like it feels really good. Like you might think like, oh, augmented reality, it's like, you know, it's cheesy and bad. It was the first augmented reality game that I played that really felt good. Like Pokemon Go, I've never really actually sat down and played for a long period of time, but the observation I've made about it is that a lot of players turn off the AR aspect of Pokemon Go because it doesn't really add anything to the game. With Minecraft Earth, totally the opposite, right? Like you almost always want to play in AR mode. I don't even think it's possible to turn off, and it's really good and it feels cool. And then once you've collected a few resources that way, you'll be able to build structures. And this is where that HoloLens example comes in. If you remember seeing that HoloLens demo, they were able to like mount a representation of Minecraft on a table, right? So you can do that as well. You can be looking through the camera of your phone and mount what they call build plates. And they're going to be different sizes. And then you can build things on that build plate. So like imagine like, you know, a 15 by 15 square, right? And then you can build up and down and all around inside that 15 by 15 square. And it's really neat, and it plays very well again, right? Like clicking to place blocks, clicking to break blocks, choosing your blocks from your inventory. When I first heard about Minecraft Earth, I immediately said, that sounds like a cool technical thing. Like it sounds like cool technology, but it's probably not for me. I don't think I'm going to play it. And then I actually got my hands on it, and I'm like, how do I get into the alpha for this? Like I immediately, once I got my hands on it, changed my tune and decided like, actually, this is pretty cool. So it's neat. And then the really cool part is once you make your build plate. So like imagine you've got like a table in front of you, you mount that little 15 by 15 area, and you build in it, and it's really tiny. You can then switch into a different mode where you can mount that thing that you made full size in the real world, like on your lawn. And you can walk through the house that you made, right? Again, you'd obviously have to be looking through your phone's AR camera, right? So you have to be looking at your phone and looking around. But it's really cool to see. So Minecraft Earth, super neat technology, really interesting. I don't have any real time frames. They have an open beta sign up right now, but I don't know exactly what their time frames are on when that beta will hit and when it's going to go live. They might tell you on the website, but you can go look to see. So pretty neat, and it's coming to I guess iOS and Android probably, I would assume, and it's going to be free to play, which is neat. You're going to be able to download it for free, and I think, yeah, that's the gist of Minecraft Earth. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to say about it. And just as a reminder, like because I would tell you if this wasn't the case, but I'm like not being paid to say any of this or like under no obligation. I'm not trying to like advertise this stuff. I'm just telling you guys my experience, right? So this isn't like a, you know, promotion or an ad or anything for this stuff. I was just really impressed by it and want to tell you guys how excited I am. So please don't think like, oh, you know, like, you know, they're making Dire say this stuff, and that's, you know, not the case at all, right? 100%, like, I was under no obligation to make any kind of video, no obligation to, like, do anything. I just want to tell you guys the experience that I had. So I want to make sure that that's clear. If I was, obviously, I would have told you. So that's the cool stuff about Minecraft Earth. There's also a couple other things in development that I can't really talk about, I'm sorry to say. But I'm just excited about the future of Minecraft. That's pretty much all I can say. You know, Minecraft definitely has a very strong and bright future, just overall. And I think there's really cool stuff coming from Minecraft Earth to some of the other new games that are coming out in the Minecraft universe, to the scripting and modding API that I'm hoping will be really good in the Bedrock edition, and just the openness and sharing of what's going on right now between the community and the developers has just gotten stronger and stronger every year, and that's really good for us as the players. So I don't think there's anything else major that I wanted to talk about, aside from the fact, like I said, you know, met with the guys working on the scripting API. They were excited to talk to us, which was a really promising and good thing for us, and looking forward to what's to come in Minecraft. So for now, Direworld20 signing off on an extra long episode of Dire News. If anything else comes to mind, I'll let you guys know. Make sure to, like, you know, if you're following me on Twitter, that's also where I'm doing things. If you want, what I've been saying on Twitter is if you have specific questions, go look at my Twitter over the past couple days, because I basically tweeted out some high-level details, a lot of what was covered in today's video, and asked for people to send questions my way, and I've been replying to them. So throw me a question on Twitter. I'll be happy to answer it if I can. You know, sometimes I either just don't know, or I might know and I'm not allowed to say. But one way or another, I will give you guys as much information as I'm possibly allowed to. And like I said, I want Bedrock modding to be awesome, and I think it can be, and I think it will be. So hopefully that's the case. All right, for now, Direworld20 signing off. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Take it easy.